Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to talk a little bit about segmentation, targeting, and positioning. And it's funny, when I ask students to reflect on a certain product or a brand or a restaurant, and I ask them, hey, everybody, what do you think this brand's target market is? A lot of people are really quick to say, well, everyone, right? I mean, doesn't every company out there want everyone to buy their product? And it's tempting to think that, right? But the reality is that products, they're really not designed to be everything to everyone. And I'm going to use just one small example. Um, if you have eaten fast food before, okay, let's say you've gone to McDonald's. McDonald's sells what? Cheeseburgers, hamburgers, french fries, soda. They try to sell salads. I haven't had one, but they try. Um, and then I said, okay, so leave McDonald's and then do me a favor and go into Five Guys. I don't know if you're familiar with Five Guys. Down in Maryland, we have Five Guys, which is kind of like a gourmet burger place. Now, Five Guys sells burgers, french fries, salads. In fact, if you look at their menu, it's really not different in any way than McDonald's. But I think that we could all agree, even though I'm alone right now, but I'm imagining you in front of me. I think that we could all agree that Five Guys is clearly not targeting the same group of consumers that McDonald's is. And here's really where the difference lies. If you start to think about the different products you use, the different places you visit, the clothes you wear, where you shop, you start to get a real true understanding that not every company targets every consumer. Okay? So that's really going to be the basis of our conversation today. We're going to talk a little bit about segmentation, targeting, and positioning. And I have in front of you on this slide different consumer groups or different segments. We have children, we have adults, and we have teenagers. And if we think about cereal, I was just walking down the cereal aisle today doing food shopping. And my kids, I have an 8 and a 5-year-old, they automatically are attracted to the junky cereal, okay, which I don't buy. I leave that to my parents to like totally pump them with junk. But at home, we steer clear of it. But think about it. You got Tony the Tiger. You have the Snap, Crackle, and Pop guys. You got Fruity Pebbles. There's all this animation happening on cereal boxes. And is that designed to attract children? It is. Now, are there like 35-year-olds who love Fruity Pebbles? I am so sure of it. But really, they probably started as children. So it's clear based on looking at cereal boxes that there's different target markets for different cereals, right? So I like Kashi, 7 grains on a mission. Okay, I have this perception that it's healthier, it's really organic, it's good for your heart and your lungs and everything else they tell me it's good for. And so I feel like that's more of an adult cereal. So just in considering cereal, you can see that there's different target markets. Okay, so let's look at segmentation specifically, okay? And let's talk a little bit about why marketers do this. Marketers recognize that they can't appeal to everybody. So really, when they go through the segmentation, targeting, and positioning process, they're analyzing different segments of the market, and they're trying to find consumers who have an unmet need. Okay, and I'm going to use sunglasses. So I'm going to use the desire that many of us have to shield the sun from our eyes. Okay, so we have some options. We can put on a hat, we can not go out, or we can buy sunglasses. And if you bear with me for 1 second, I really did not want my children graphic to pop in. So I'm going to move these guys out of the way. Okay, don't look at the children at the bottom of the screen. Don't look at the children. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so if you look at this slide, you can see in my pie chart, my empty pie chart, that this is, consider this a large group of consumers, okay? And we're going to pretend like this is a market of consumers who want to shield their eyes from the sun, okay? So see this segment right here, this piece of the pie. Think of segmentation as just dividing up a pie, okay? So see this segment right here? Let's pretend like all the people that fit into this segment are consumers who don't want to spend a lot on sunglasses, are really just buying them for style, but also buying them because they need them, but really aren't willing to spend any more than about $15 or $20 on their sunglasses. Okay, here's where I fit. Okay, especially since I break sunglasses once every 13 seconds. So I can't really afford to be spending the money that this segment up here can spend. All right, so let's pretend like this is the fancy segment. These are consumers who only buy Ray-Bans, only buy Oakleys. Why? Because they may have the income level or they really value high quality. And you can see right away that even though the sunglass market is huge, meaning there's so many people that want sunglasses, that Ray-Ban and Oakley clearly are not targeting the same people that maybe Target is, right? Target's targeting me. Inexpensive sunglasses that look cute. Oakley and Ray-Ban up here are targeting people that want like high performance sunglasses that are high quality and targeting consumers who are willing to pay. But if we were a company that had all the production capability of making sunglasses, we might analyze these different market segments. And I didn't give this one a market. We could say these are like athletes who want to wear a special type of sunglasses for cycling, or they're marathon runners, and there's a special type of sunglasses for high performance athletes. But let's say in analyzing the segment, we realize that there's an opportunity to create sunglasses out there, okay? And let's say that opportunity is kids. All right, so just go with me. I have several, my children don't wear glasses, but I have several friends whose children need glasses for school to see the board or to read. And let's say that there isn't a whole lot by way of options for sunglasses that are prescription for children. Okay, so time out. I'm sure these exist. I don't doubt that they do. But let's just pretend for 1 second that we are marketers and this is what we come up with. So again, the bottom line is the process of segmentation allows marketers to analyze different segments and then to figure out, hey, is there a segment out there? Is there a market out there where a need isn't being met? And can we create sunglasses or any product to satisfy that need? That's really the purpose of segmentation. Okay, that leads us to our T in STP, targeting. So if you take a look at your textbook, there are lots and lots of lovely academic terms that explain what targeting is. But I like things in the most simplest form. I really do. And here's how I view targeting. Once you see that there's a segment or multiple segments with unmet needs, and you determine as a marketer that, hey, I think we can make a product to meet those needs, then you make some key decisions. Okay, you might say, you know what, we don't have enough money. Like literally, as a firm, we're small. We don't have enough resources to target multiple people or multiple segments. So instead, let's pick one single segment. Let's just target children who need prescription eyewear, and there aren't a lot of options when it comes to sunglasses. Some of the larger companies, though, they use the multiple segment approach. And I'm going to go back to cereal for this one because this is like a wide open layup without defense, okay? So the multiple segment approach says, you know what? We have a lot of resources. And you know what? We can make a lot of different brands or a lot of different types of cereal. So let's make a cereal for children. Let's make a cereal for adults. Let's make a cereal for people who want gluten-free. So companies that try to target multiple segments with different products are using that second approach. So here's the key question. What in the world does all of this have to do with your marketing mix? Okay? Really? What does it have to do with your 4 Ps? Remember those guys? Product, price, place, promotion. And here's how it shakes out. Once marketers figure out the segment or the segments that they actually want to target, they then use this information or this decision to influence how they craft their 4 Ps. Okay, so just go with me. If you know you're targeting baby boomers, for example, versus say children or adolescents or tweens, you know that your price and your quality need to be higher. And here's why. Baby boomers, if you look demographically, they're the largest segment of our population. They're also the wealthiest segment. So if you figure out that there's a segment of baby boomers with an unmet need and you make a product for it, you're going to use what you know about that segment to influence how you craft your 4 Ps. Okay, you might sell it in a specific place, right? You're trying to reach baby boomers, so there might be a certain retail store or a certain website that better appeals to them. Your promotion would be influenced by who your target market is. So again, this is really, really important in determining how your marketing mix is going to be crafted when you know who exactly it is, the segment or segments that you're targeting. All right, let's talk about positioning, the last of the STP process. So you segmented the market, you figured out who you're going to target. The next thing you need to do is you need to figure out how you're going to position your product. Now, let me clear something up. A lot of students think that positioning has to do with where a product is located on a shelf. And I get it. If you don't know a whole bunch about marketing yet and you see the word positioning, makes sense, right? Where is it on a shelf? But the reality is it has nothing to do with where a product is located on a shelf. Positioning, and this is not the textbook description of positioning. This is my professional experience. I worked in marketing for Johnson & Johnson, and I worked for a biotech company called Cephalon. So this is based on my professional and current industry experience. Positioning has to do with crafting a story around your brand or your product so that consumers have a distinct characteristic or profile of exactly what your product is and how it's different. So these brands are pretty familiar to you, so I use them to illustrate my example. Let's look at Walmart. What does Walmart want you to think about Walmart every time you walk into a store or every time you think of the name Walmart? They want you to think low prices. That is their positioning strategy. Do they want you to think high quality? No. Do they want you to think luxury brand? Heavens no. They want you to think low prices. How about Lowe's? We talked about Lowe's in a previous lecture. Think about Lowe's versus Home Depot and how very different their positioning strategies are. I'm going to talk about Nike and Saucony next. Okay, Nike is positions itself to be the brand for like high performance athletes. Even though most people that wear Nike haven't picked up a ball, a bat, a glove, or put on a pair of sneakers to do actually something athletic in like months or years even. But still, they feature high-performance athletes in their commercials. They have contracts with celebrity athletes who are, famous in their specific sport. How different is that than Saucony? Okay, Saucony recognizes there is no way in the world it can compete with Nike. Saucony will never be a basketball shoe. Saucony will never be a football shoe. But what Saucony has positioned itself to be is the shoe for runners. So if you're a serious runner, if you run 5Ks or 10Ks or marathons, you're going to look at Saucony as the shoe of the runner. And that's all positioning. They don't even waste their time trying to be in any other type of market. See the single segment market approach from the previous slide? They recognize they'd rather be everything to runners than try to be everything to everybody. So that's the strategy behind positioning. All right, the next major segment of this module that we're going to talk about, we're going to kind of pivot a little bit away from segmentation, targeting, and positioning and talk about consumer behavior. Consumer behavior, if you've ever taken a psychology class before, an intro to psych, I'm so sure you talked about the individual, the human's needs and wants and the desires that motivate them to behave in a certain way. Boy, does this apply to marketing. So I love to open up with this question. If I was going to be in a face-to-face class, I would open with something like this. So why, when you're standing in that checkout aisle, why are you surrounded with nail clippers, breath mints, and copies of People magazine, right? You're waiting. Maybe the person in front of you has 50 million things to check out. And you look around and there's all these opportunities to purchase relatively low-priced goods. Why? And the answer is consumer behavior. Marketers have done studies that demonstrate that consumers don't think twice about making what are called impulse purchases. That pack of gum that do you really need it? Maybe. But consumer behavior really examines and applies the role of consumer wants and needs. So the desires and wants and needs that drive our purchasing decision. This can influence and help marketers make decisions. This chapter in particular goes into Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I challenge you, the next time you watch a commercial, while you're watching television, take a look at the commercial analytically, critically evaluate it, and tell me what needs and or wants that commercial is aiming for. Are they trying to satisfy the need to be physiologically content, to feel safe, to feel loved, to feel respected? Those all align with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So the bottom line is that psychology, we would be remiss if we didn't admit in marketing that psychology, as it relates to consumer behavior, very much influences how consumers purchase, the process of purchasing, and so on. So, all right, let's move on and talk about our final concept, which is the role of information and research. And I'm going to use the example of Johnson & Johnson. So a company that I worked for, we purchased a mine of data from pharmacies across the nation. Okay. And so I'm going to give you sort of some inside information about how the drug companies work. So when I worked for Janssen Pharmaceutica, our company would purchase from pharmacies the prescribing habits of physicians in every state. And we would supply that information to drug representatives who would then call on these physicians. So imagine this. You hand your sales team information that points out that Dr. X on Fifth Avenue is prescribing 1,000 scripts of product X, and you sell product X. So this is somebody that's a high prescriber of your product versus Dr. Y, who is located on 6th Street and has never prescribed your product before in his or her life. And so having that information available to sales reps gives them the power to make decisions about who to call on. It's really no different in any other organizations. Companies collect data internally, like through their sales numbers, through their sales reps, through their customer service agents. They also collect data externally, right? When they conduct research on what consumers prefer in terms of color and style and taste. They also gather data from secondary sources. And the reason why is because I'm going to say this once, but I'm going to say it really slow and clearly. But this is a fact. Nowadays, marketers don't make a decision unless it's supported by evidence. Okay? So marketers don't make a decision unless it's supported by evidence. There's not like, and I actually said that twice. Okay, so there's not like a group of people sitting around going, yeah, you're so smart. That sounds like a great idea. There's no opinions allowed. It's information is used to make decisions. Information is interpreted to make decisions because marketers believe that when they have data, when they have information, when they have results from a study, that helps them make better decisions. It's not based on gut instinct anymore. It's based on proven science. So that concludes our conversation about the role of information in research. So I'll give you a second as we wrap up to just take a look at my summary slide. And I apologize for my voice. It got very raspy all of a sudden. Okay, so in closing, I want you to think about STP as a really important process. It's an analytical process where marketers are analyzing different segments of the market, figuring out if there's a chance to provide a product to a segment that has an unmet need. And then that segment or segments become their target market. And then positioning relates to knowing that target market so well that you can craft a story around your brand so that it's very appealing to those consumers, that group of customers you want to target. The second point I want to conclude with is that consumer behavior, the psychological wants and needs that drive our decisions to make purchases, absolutely influence marketing decisions. And then thirdly, marketers use research. They don't make decisions unless there is research and information to support those decisions. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.